She's been appointed as one of the presenters. Yeah. So she couldn't present.
Good morning to everybody.
Morning, Chair. How are you?
Morning, you, President.
Good morning, Chair.
Morning, Honorable Swart.
Recording in progress.
Let me take this opportunity to welcome everybody. Hopefully, you had a restful festive season and you are rejuvenated to finish the term. We are going to have a very short program for this term. The main aim is to just conclude the things that we were not able to conclude last year. It's going to be a compressed program. We are working on the program that we were given by Parliament, that Parliament is rising on the 30th of March. So our program is following that one of Parliament. We have not had any bad news, so we think that everybody is live and kicking. So with those few words, I would like to welcome you all to this meeting. I would like to propose that we start with the Magistrates Commission, and then it will be followed by the issue of the Human Rights Commission and the Public Protector, and we end with the program. I'm suggesting that because after the presentation by the Human Rights Commission, by the Magistrate Commission, we might want to release them so that we don't hold them hostage on things that do not really bother them. So if the meeting agrees, can we start with the Magistrates Commission? The briefing on the suspension or stroke removal of magistrates. Will that be in order?
Yes, Chair.
Thank you very much. Let's welcome the members of the South African, of the Magistrate Commission, led by Advocate Manana. You are welcome. You can introduce other members of the delegation if you have them as part of your delegation. But if not, it will be important that since it's the first time you are making a presentation to us, that we see your face and you introduce yourself formally. Over to you.
Good morning, Chair. I think it was mute. Apologies. We're sitting in one room, so there's an echo. I'm sure it's reporting feedback on others. Let me help. Thank you. Thank you. Apologies. Good morning, Chair, and good morning, honorable members. My name is Naomi Manaka. I'm an advocate at the Johannesburg Bar. I sit on the commission and I chair the ethics committee. I also sit on EXCO by virtue of being a chair, and I'm a spokesperson for the commission. I'm sitting here with Mr. Finger. Mr. Justice Finger is the secretary of the commission, also fairly newly appointed from last year. So both of us are newbies. And this is our first time to report and to appear. Hopefully it will go well and quick. We have a few matters that we will move for the House to adopt, and it's suspension of magistrates and removal, confirmation of suspension of magistrates and removal. I will simply give a brief overview on each so I don't detain members for long, and I will welcome questions if there are any. on each and every matter. So perhaps I'll move for one matter and allow questions through you, Chair. I'm not sure how it's normally done.
Sorry, Advocate Manaka, maybe before you proceed, the other member that you introduced, we did not see him or her.
I apologize, Mr. Finger.
Good. Good morning, Chair and honorable members. I hope you can see me.
Yes, we can.
All right. Yes, my name is Maharaj Justice Finger. As stated by Advocate Manak, I'm the Secretary of the Commission, having started on the 1st of June 2023. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. You are welcome. Both of you are all welcome to this committee, the outgoing committee of the Portfolio Committee of Justice and Correctional Services. This is our first and last time we meet with you. The next time you appear, you'll be appearing before the 7th committee, the 7th Parliament. It will be a newly constituted committee of the Justice and Correctional Services. If it will be called that, we do not know. But for now, we are appearing before the Portfolio Committee of Justice and Correctional Services. Thank you very much. You can proceed, Advocate Manaka.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I propose to start with the matter of Govender.
Sorry, before there's a hand, Honorable Janchi.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning to yourself and the colleagues of the committee and everybody from the Magistrate Commission. I just wanted quickly, Chair, Advocate Manaka has raised an issue about which I think I want your guidance on, suggesting that she would like to take it one by one. We discuss each. There are about 5 or so, 7 matters. So I'm not sure in terms of our time whether that will suit us, or she can offload everything and then we discuss. So I need your guidance on that so that we don't jump in the middle of it.
I would suggest, because it's a serious responsibility, whether you are proposing confirmation or suspension or removal of a judicial officer, is a serious responsibility that we take it one by one. Thank you very much. Thank you, Honorable Janchi. Can we proceed, Advocate Manaka?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I'll propose to start with the matter of Govender. May I proceed?
Please do.
Ms. Govender has been suspended provisionally from office, and the commission, the minister is seeking that this committee confirms the suspension from office. Ms. Govender is a sitting magistrate who, during the proceedings before her, had an accused who pleaded, and the matter was postponed for trial. Before the trial date was forthcoming, she then endorsed the charge sheet and found the accused not guilty and discharged the accused. And the prosecution took the matter on review. When there was a query from the reviewing judges about the proceedings, the allegations against Ms. Govender is that she then misled the High Court and submitted that there was a hearing of trial, whereas in truth and in fact, there was no hearing. The commission deemed she was given an opportunity to respond to the allegation, and also she was advised of an intention to provisionally suspend her from office pending the misconduct hearing. She did not respond, and the commission recommended to the minister to provisionally suspend Ms. Kavenda, and the provisional suspension, minister provisionally suspended her, and we move that this House should please confirm the provisional suspension pending the misconduct hearing.
Thank you, Advocate Manaka. I think for Magistrate Govender, that will be all on your side. Am I correct?
That will be all from my side, yes.
Thank you very much. Members, are there any questions? I think for today, let's deal with clarity seeking questions. We will deliberate on our own. Let's ask any clarity seeking question, then we will release the Magistrate Commission. Then we will have a day when we will deliberate and adopt the reports according to our deliberations. Honorable Janji. Honorable Janji.
Thank you, Chair. Having read all these presentations, I have an overarching clarity that I want to seek because it applies to all of them in what I've picked up. And it's going to be important for Advocate Manaka and the Secretary, and not to be so quick to think that we're just here to either agree or not agree. Maybe she must be reminded both of them are new, and so we welcome them. I'm also happy, Chair, that for the first time you have the Secretary of the Commission attending. And so there's a significant demonstration that they take this seriously, unlike what happened before, where we just sent those that were doing the investigation. And so that's progress. So I want to note that and appreciate that. But my first overarching issue I want to raise is in relation to there's a serious gap in time from the point when the matter would have been a complaint would have been reported to the commission, and you have a distance between that and when a charge sheet was produced. You also have got a huge distance between when a charge sheet was done as to when the matter has finally been taken to the commission itself, and then to the minister. And so, for example, just on this case, you have a process that almost like dates back from 20 January 2021. Okay, and I want them to explain this gap, and then you have on the 20th of December 2023, Ms. Govender provisional suspended by the Justice Minister, and so there's a lot of gaps and processes as to what was happening on this issue. There seems to be a shoddy pace of how they do things. It's not enough to say we're finally suspended and we're bringing this to you when a matter that should take a particular amount of time takes 3 years, takes 2 years, or takes more than that. I'd want Advocate Manaka and the Secretary to explain to us, because this is one of the issues we were complaining about previously. The last time they came in front of us, we were not happy. We said they had shoddy work they were presenting to us. We're not happy with the amount of time DCs were taking, including investigation. There seems to be no progress there on that issue. And that will be my first clarity, Chair, that I would want to get from them. That we know the date of the judgment, and then thereafter, it's all fuzzy. It's like there's no work happening. There's no pressure to push things and so on. That's really my gripe. And I'm saying it's overarching because it cuts across all of the issues that they're presenting to us. I'll pause there, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Judge. I think it will also be important that they account for each case that there has been serious delays. I think as much as it is overarching, but for each case, I think they will have to explain as to why in this particular case there was a delay. Honorable Nivot Jochen.
Can the Secretariat spotlight Wilma, please? Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Chairperson. I'm Wilma Neodruchen. I use a South African Sign Language interpreter, and the interpreter voicing me is Trudy currently. Thank you for your presentation. I just wanted clarity on how the process works. You said that between the provisional suspension until she gets a hearing. Okay, right. So now it comes before this committee. Suppose the committee confirms the provisional suspension. Then the hearing happens after this. But then does this matter then come back to the committee for us to adopt if the suspension, whether the suspension continues or it becomes another issue? I just need clarity to understand that. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Advocate Mkhwebane.
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning to the members, Advocate Manaka, and your team. Thank you so much. And I'm new also in the committee, and I hear that these were the challenges you've been facing all along, or all these years. I would want to find out from you within the Magistrates Commission. Well, you started last year, June. Whether do you have standard operating procedures, you have standard, in fact, service standards. When you receive a matter, what steps do you follow? What time frames do you have? When you arrive within the commission, what systems did you put in place or are you putting in place? This will cut across, but the most critical issue is that indeed, in each matter you'll explain, but at the end, if we can or I can be provided with those internal service standards or documents so that we would understand how long should it take, because yes, on going through all these matters, it's a common challenge that there's no sense of agency in dealing with such matters. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Mkhwebane. Honorable Horn.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good morning to yourself and all colleagues, and also the representatives from the Magistrates Commission. Chair, yes, at the risk of sounding as if I disagree with the Honourable Jantjie, which I really in principle am not doing, I would want to suggest that for us to take it forward, mindful of our previous engagement, which dealt specifically with the very important issue of dealing with these inquiries, investigations, and hearings on a speedy basis as soon as possible, and in the interest of justice and in the interest of the magistracy as a whole, that my suggestion would be that we are, of course, apprised of both historical reasons for delays and then specifically what steps, if any, were taken. I want to say after the handover or the transition within the Ethics Committee of the Magistrates Commission, and since the last engagement it had with this portfolio committee, when it was made very clear that going forward we would keep a keen eye on the progress or the lack thereof and any reasons for it. So I'm in that sense agreeing with the Honourable Jantjie, but saying that, of course, I don't think it will assist us to now again relitigate historical delays, but rather to take note of them and to then insist on specific information as to what to prevent further delays and to deal with matters expeditiously since the, I want to say, the recomposition of the ethics committee and the ethics department.
Thank you, Honorable Horn. Advocate Manaka.
Thank you, honorable members. I may not be able to answer all the questions, but I'll do my best to provide information that at least is within my knowledge. And perhaps if there's anything that I happen not to answer at this particular moment, I undertake that I will send that response as soon as possible, but will want after the response that maybe clarity should be sought on what I have not addressed. Obviously, we knew and members are sensitive to the fact that we may not be privy to the historical issues that were there, because members of the commission and most members will know, including Honorable Janji, that we all volunteers in what we do, so we meet at a particular time. So I will explain the structure as I found it when I joined the commission, and I was since appointed as the chair of the ethics committee. And the steps that we are taking to improve, the service, the timelines, to get to what Advocate Mkhwebana has asked regarding whether there should be standard procedures and so forth. So when I joined the commission and in turn the ethics committee, there is an ethics division, which is magistrates who are permanently resident within the commission. And they have a secretary who is the secretary of the ethics committee, separate from the Magistrates Commission's secretary. At that moment, the secretary of the ethics committee was the acting secretary of the commission, because the commission did not have a secretary. And within the ethics division itself, there was one magistrate who was appointed into that division, as I understand it. And I'm sure most have met because he has been making presentations on these issues previously. And understandably, due to the number of complaints that the commission will receive, at least on a monthly basis, and considering that that very only member was the one who will also attend the misconduct hearings, then I think the commission was stretched for capacity. And therefore, many things fell within the cracks. Some of the complaints would be received and it will take a little longer or maybe long to attend to them, because they would start from the ethics division through the ethics committee secretary stroke commission's acting secretary. And he had to attend to those complaints and then make a recommendation to the ethics committee. But what I also noticed is that some of the files they would be dealt with by the ethics division and not the committee, and they will make a decision which somewhat will be binding, especially when they're saying there's no merit in the complaint. So the first issue is that there was a capacity problem at the commission which caused the delays. Generally, and I'm asking Honorable Janji because he asked generally, it applies to everyone. So yes, there was a delay, and indeed it was due to capacity at the commission. Then the manner in which the ethics committee met and the manner in which matters were placed on the agenda was rather at least confusing to me, because I think I'm very systematic, and I like 1 followed by 2 followed by 3, and I don't understand if you put 3 before 2 but it's still 1, 2, 3. So I simply just couldn't understand the matters, and I also didn't understand where matters were in terms of from the reporting to the execution and for it to get to the complainant and so forth and be investigated. And so I requested members that at least for me to be able to lead effectively, I would want everything to be reported in 1, 2, 3. So if you have matter reported in January of 2024 and is matter number 1 on your register, you register it as matter number 1. You say where it comes from, who the complainant, what is the nature of the complaint, and so it goes. So then that system we are adopting, and that system is kind of giving us way. And the reason why it made sense that we followed it that way is that sometimes you will have matter number 1, 5, 11 on the agenda of the ethics committee, which meets at least monthly virtually. And what I've introduced is what I call a cleanup campaign. So since 2022, we have a 2-day intensive meeting where every member comes in and we sleep in. We work from 8 until 9, 10, 11 at night in wherever we are. And we try to clean up the backlog, if you may call it. So we call matters that we see. We started with matters as far back as 2015. So we'll just check on the number and say, but this matter, why is it on the agenda? Is a 2015 matter? And then we'll start with those. So we started prioritizing older matters in order to ensure that we don't have old complaints still on the table of the commission. But in addition to that, we then got capacitated because there were, so Mr. Mayor was first the only person, and then there were magistrates from Judicial Service Quality Assurance who were assisting in kind of reading, recommending the complaints to the committee. But then one retired and there were 2 left. And then the other one, in my view, when I started, I said, I'm not comfortable legally that we have someone who is not allocated into the division, in fact, dealing with complaints, and least we get a review, we won't have an explain. So we excused one of them, so we were left with 2. And subsequently, 2 other magistrates were seconded. I think it was last year, Feb. 2 magistrates were seconded to that division. And therefore we had 4. And Mr. Finger was then appointed. So the secretary of the Ethics Commission had to only focus on the ethics matters, and Mr. Finger took over from him insofar as the commission-related matters were concerned. And he will time and again also come and assist, sit with us in meeting and help with executing certain of the recommendations or resolutions that we take in the ethics division. Be that as it may, we do get overwhelmed with complaints, and because there's only 24 hours in a day, we do try, and hence we introduced at least twice in a year what we call a cleanup campaign meeting. So we're having another one next week, just before the commission meeting for 2 days, and we'll have another one. So we're trying to do it at least 3 monthly or at least twice a year, depending on availability of the members and depending on the pressure that we are under. So that is the one thing that we have implemented in order to try and expedite the complaints. The other one that we have implemented is that we will have matters which are extremely pressured or extremely urgent, which we then prioritize by deciding them via round robin. And then the matter will be circulated and members will make comments and will take a decision by majority rule based on the comments that are taken. Again, because of the numbers, and because like I said earlier, sometimes the members from the ethics division were of the view that they have a legal authority to make decisions on complaints and in fact finalize them to say there is no merit in a complaint without an endorsement of either the ethics committee or the commission, which I then said it's not supported by at least the law, and that every matter that comes as a complaint must be decided by the ethics committee if the file is going to be closed because there's no merit, because the ethics committee is, at least by law, the only committee that is mandated by the commission to deal with ethics-related members, and because ethics division members are not members of the commission, they therefore don't have any authority to finalize complaint. They are kind of a supporting wing to the committee. So that, again, having old ways coming with new ways, there was some form of misunderstanding who has the rights, who has the powers, but eventually I did table the matter at the commission and we agreed that the decision lies with the ethics committee. And because we have so many matters, and sometimes we get overwhelmed because you get like 20 emails at the go from the division members. I then proposed and we discussed and debated it and eventually adopted it. Obviously, some people were not happy with it, but that's what we're implementing currently. That because we have members in the ethics division, and in order not to overburden members of the ethics committee, who most are practitioners and magistrates, I allocated a member of the ethics division to a member of the ethics committee. And I said, when they receive complaints that are allocated to them, they must read the complaints and inform a member who's allocated to them of their recommendation on that matter and the summary of what the complaint is all about. Then the allocated, I must be copied as the chair, so I'm copied in all the matters. Then the member of the ethics committee allocated to that division member, magistrate, must see if they agree or not agree with the recommendation and why. I will read the documents, and if I endorse and agree with them, it means there is no merit in the complaint, and therefore we can either table it and say the file is closed and give a summary so that the ethics division, the ethics committee can, in its meeting, be able to endorse it. So these are the complaints that somebody will complain about the clerk and say they have a problem. So what we then do, again, to improve the system is that because we have that obligation, we don't just say we don't have a mandate, it's a clerk. We also write, we are adopting a system where we write back to the complainants and say, we have received your complaint. Unfortunately, the Magistrate Commission is only mandated to deal with complaints against the magistrate. Your complaint is against the police officer, go to so-and-so, or a clerk, go to so-and-so, or justice. Sometimes we even refer and say we have referred it, but our file is closed. So those will be the files that we close outright, and they form the bulk of the complaints that we receive. So yes, there have been delays, I agree, and yes, there are still delays. But with us as the committee, we are more dependent on what is brought to us by the ethics division in terms of what matter is urgent and what matter requires our attention as a matter of urgency, which is another thing that we said, to say, even if it's a new complaint, like recently, there was a complaint where the attorney is complaining about the magistrate and the matter was going to court, I think on the 7th of February. So we had to attend to that matter first in order to see if we can have any mitigating things to ensure that justice is done and no one is prejudiced whilst we deal with the complaint. So we give that priority to its agency. So I think we are making good strides. I do admit there were delays. There are still delays because we are still trying to perfect the system. We also have spoken about coming up with information like community service, in terms of which we'll do radio talks to tell the people what the commission is all about, to reduce the number of complaints so that we don't have complaints relating to other stakeholders, but only magistrates. We are also working on a board for the magistrates. I think we'll be finalizing the actual wording of those boards that we want to take to the department, that each and every magistrate commission can, magistrate court rather, can have that board displayed as to who we are, what we stand for, and what kind of complaints can be forwarded to us, and in what way should the complaint be forwarded to us. We've also created a central email address where all the complaints should be sent, as opposed to like the secretary or this or the other person. And I think most of those complaints are coming through that email address. Is on the DOJ website. We have also updated the website, and that email address will go on the boards for informational purposes. And there are matters that we expedite as well. They don't wait for the commission to sit. So as soon as a decision is taken by the ethics committee to either suspend or charge, then there are regular ad hoc EXCO meetings. Sometimes we call urgent. Last week we had 2 EXCO meetings where we deal with either serious and urgent complaints that comes from the ethics commission with a recommendation, or just finalizing the charge sheets and the suspensions. So that should be able to answer briefly, of course, and not fully and perhaps not satisfactory, the reason why there's been cause of delays, and what we're doing in the process to improve the system. With regard to the standard operating procedures, Advocate Honorable Mukwebane, we spoke about them, and
Sorry, Advocate Manaka, Honorable Janche, can I note your hand, and this is a procedural matter?
Yes, please note it, Chair. It's a follow-up.
Okay, thank you.
There are no standard operating procedures, in fact, and that's what we are trying to develop, to say once a complaint has been received, at least acknowledge receipt to the complainant and say, we have received your complaint, is receiving an attention. And that is, I think, to a greater extent been done recently, or since the decision has been taken. We also, it's difficult to put a timeline on how long we can deal with a complaint, because sometimes the complaint don't come in a form of an affidavit. And sometimes the delay is on the part of the complainant. When we're saying we've received your complaint, we think that the complaint warrants attention and the allegations are serious, but you must put them in an affidavit form. And there's sometimes delays from the complainant side, which we then wait, but we do put timelines to it, because we'll say, tell the complainant to respond within a specific period and diarize it. We diarize it. In the next meeting, we do a follow-up, which is, I think, the other thing that we have improved on, is that previously in the meetings, you'll have an agenda with matters, and in the next meeting, you have an agenda with new matters without a follow-up on whether the resolution were implemented that were taken previously. And now we have ad hoc. So after this cleanup meeting, for example, we'll take resolutions. And in March, when we have our 2-hour virtual meeting, it will only be to make follow-up on whether those resolutions that we took have been implemented and what are the problems encountered. So yes, we are trying to work as swiftly as possible under the circumstances, and we in a process developing the standard procedure. We are talking about having complaints
A
and
bit, just
response digitally.
Advocate Manaka. Members, I would like to get your guidance, because listening to Advocate Manaka, I think we might need to schedule a different briefing, which would look at the whole value chain in the Magistrates Commission, and what her, what we call it, her vision, the things that she wants to do to improve the systems. Maybe we might need that as a separate briefing, which might form part of our exit report on the issues that might need to be prioritized by the new committee. So that because I think I might get confused, we might go into a lot of details on the issues of dysfunctionality and what are they doing now, which might it does to a certain extent have a bearing on the cases, why they took long. But I think for us to be in a position to do justice, I think we need to schedule a specific briefing to dealing with those issues that she has raised, so that we can also on our side prepare ourselves adequately to engage the commission on those issues. Can I get guidance, members, on that? Honorable Janji?
No, thank you, Chair. Thanks for raising that. I didn't want to disturb her flow, Chair, but I do, in response to your directive, want to ask Advocate Manaka to be a bit precise in response to the questions that we're asking. We have got about 8 or 9 matters. If the rate of dealing with each would be similar to how the time we take on the first one, we might forget about other matters. We still have to go to their house at 2. And for example, there's a simple question that was asked by Advocate Mkhwebane about standard operating procedures. It needs a quick response. You have them, you don't have them, and then there's work to be done thereafter. And so I would I agree with you that because she's also as a chair and the new committee trying to put up things, we hear there's a lot of capacity issue and so on. That is something that we might have to attend. But for now, it might help us to have a particular focus on what has been brought in front of us as a committee, mindful that there are other matters related. I'm still holding back on my follow-up, or should I go on the follow-up, Chair, as well?
No, I think your guidance does assist. Then let me just, before we come back to you here, Honorable Jale.
Good morning, Chair, and good morning, colleagues, and also Advocate Manaka and the team. My apologies that I will only show my photo. I'm preparing to catch the bus. I think, Chair, I was about to also maybe come to support you on that issue of, I think, of arranging or maybe getting a report of some kind in terms of how things are unfolding as in terms of addressing all these issues according to the plan of Memanaka, because I would understand why maybe she answered the way she answered, because our questioning was not specifically or not only what she has brought today. Our questioning was also requiring her to touch on those areas of the future planning and the things that are happening within the space. So I was also going to support that issue of saying, I don't know whether for me, I was going to say, because the last time I raised this issue, it was maybe there will be no time for us to have another meeting scheduled for them to come and make such a presentation. Maybe if we can get something in writing, it will be much better, where she will be. I don't know if maybe I'm protecting her or what, but I'm saying where she will be able to detail everything, which even her future plans, because from what she was explaining now, Chair, it also gave me the idea of saying, I wonder, because now the manner how she's approaching the whole thing, it's going to attract many people to bring their complaints who were not able to bring their complaints, and their complaints were not attended and all that, and some were discouraged along the way. So it's going to attract lots of complaints. That's my thinking. So I thought that maybe also she would also look into the plans, into how the capacity as to how to handle the weight and the many of those complaints. So in short, let me say I agree with you, but I don't know if you would take the cue of calling them back, or you will, because of time, would say maybe let them do it in writing. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. So I think we do agree that there needs to be a specific briefing or focus on the issues that were raised, issues that deal with capacity and why they impact on the slowness of these issues being attended, and what they are putting in place to deal with those issues. But it would not be, let's be honest with ourselves, members, it would not be between now and May. So it will be one of the issues that we would need to recommend to the new committee to have not a report in writing. This needs an engagement. It needs an engagement because the function that they are dealing with, it's a very important function. We have similar challenges with cases that have dragged for long with respect to the JSC, and we have the similar problems, and with the Magistrates Commission. So it would be important, right, to have a much more focused and well thought through a briefing that is going to deal with those issues, because they go to the heart of access to justice for our people and the respect for the judiciary. So it's not an ordinary task that they are dealing with. So I would suggest that, as it was suggested earlier, that Advocate Manaka, I think now you have explained generally the background to some of the delays that we will schedule. In fact, the next committee will schedule a meeting where we'll deal with those things in much more detail. Now focus on the cases that are before us, so that we can be able to deal with all of them. But there was a follow-up from Honorable Janji on what you have presented on Magistrate Govender. Honorable Janji.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I'll be quick and specific, Chair, and would expect a specific response. You have two types of reviews, the automatic and special review. In this case of Govender, her matter was taken to the High Court on the basis of a special review. In other words, where there are granular irregularities and so on done by a magistrate. And the High Court judgment in the State versus Mangena, based on this work, says there were serious gross irregularities which tainted the whole proceedings that she was presiding over. And that's what the judge said. And so the key question then becomes, for 2 years, this same magistrate, still not, because she can only be suspended once she's on the bench. She's on the bench as we speak. So you don't know what are the damages that would have, because this is not just, because automatic would be about years of the magistrate and the amount, the type of sentences, but this is one is more serious. It's about the competency and the conduct of this magistrate. And for 2 years, and so the specific question I therefore want to ask is, have they made an assessment that in the 2 years, they were no concern about what she's doing? She's on the bench with this kind of a serious judgment, because then we might be dealing with more other problems. So that if she can just quickly comment on that. There's no sanction during that period. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Janji. Advocate Manaka.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I'm not sure if I understand the question. Is the question whether this magistrate is still a sitting magistrate? And if that is the question, the answer is no, she's not, because the minister has since placed her on provisional suspension that we are requiring this committee to confirm. And if the question is whether what has happened prior to the magistrate being placed on provisional suspension, she was sitting, of course, because the commission was still dealing with the complaint, and the follow-up that should happen is to have a judicial quality assurance being done on her work as part of the ongoing process, so that if there has been any injustice as a result of her conduct apart from this, it can also be attended to. I hope I've answered the question.
Thank you very much. I think you have. I see no further questions, clarity-seeking questions. Can we move to the next magistrate?
Thank you, Chair and honorable members. I will then ask to proceed with the matter of Maharaj. Maharaj had a stroke shortly after her appointment, and she only sat on the bench, I think, for 2 months following her appointment before she had a stroke, and has since been out of office for over a year and a half, I think, over a year and a half. And she was given notice that the commission intends to recommend to the minister to remove him on account of ill health, and she has agreed. The delay in this matter, as it would have appear on the notice that was given to Parliament, was that the initial notice which was given had a wrong date, and therefore Maharaj refused to take the notice, and subsequently was given a correct notice, and the medical reports do support that he has permanent disability which affects his memory amongst other things, and that he's in no position to proceed to be on the bench. Following him being given notice that this recommendation will be done, he agreed that indeed he is in no position to proceed. So we move for the confirmation that he be removed on account of ill health.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Honorable Janji?
Yes, Chair, a quick one. Thank you for that. This seems to be close to being straightforward, but there's an issue here. So it took the commission 1 year, 8 months to submit a revised letter to Mr. Maharaj. Now, really, is that the standard for the commission? And I know that the secretary is new, He's not even part of this 1 year, 8 months thing. She joined in June or July last year. But to have a revised letter sent to him, did it need to take that long? 1 year, 8 months? If one can just get a brief clarity on what was so difficult for the commission to go back to him. It couldn't even take a month. It's more than a year, unless I'm wrong. It's 1 year, 8 months. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Janji. Honorable Ngola.
Thanks very much, Chair. I think my first question has been clearly covered by Honorable Janji, and I think we are still moving with the trends of the last magistrate on the delays and the longevity of how these matters are taking and how they impact on the performance of our magistrate courts. Because throughout our visits, we always told about magistrates that do not attend to court hearings and all those things, having those courts to postpone unlimitedly or indefinitely many matters, and it causes a serious court backlog, case backlogs in our court. So it's a serious problem, as Honorable Janji is clearly putting it. The second thing, Chair, want to check just shortly, just quickly on are we on the Maharaj dealing with an issue of incapacity? I'm not sure if I got really I heard about stroke and all that. Are we dealing with a case of a person who's completely incapacitated to execute their roles? Thank you very much.
Honorable Ngola, we can't hear you.
He's done, Chair.
Okay. Maybe he is back under the tree. Advocate Manaka.
Thank you, Chair. As an advocate, it's easier to start with the easy one. And I'm going to ask to start with the second question. I didn't quite get the first question of the second honorable member, but I figured it was a follow-up because he was breaking. But the one that I got clearly is the issue of whether this is a situation of a magistrate who's incapacitated totally. So, well, incapacity, if you look at the act, there's difference between removing because of incapacity and removing because of ill health. But if we're using the word incapacity as a general term to say is a person who's unable to perform their work due to ill health, and the answer is yes. The magistrate is so ill and has been home since 2020, as Honorable Janji has correctly picked, 1 year, 8 months, and the reports, including the updated reports, to confirm that this magistrate will not be able to perform their functions as a judicial officer anymore. So that should be able to address the second question, I hope. Honorable Janji, I don't know how to answer you without being repetitive, but the commission had one person. I mean, it is a totally legitimate question, and it is a totally legitimate answer, and I hope that when we have a fuller session, we'll be able to unpack and explain exactly where we're coming from in order for this kind of delays to make sense. So you will recall that in my very long explanation that didn't very impress you so much, I included in there that the way the committee used to meet and set out their agendas was quite confusing, and there was no follow-through from what happened previously in order to see if that has been executed, if I were to say that. So if the committee had taken a resolution to say, Mr. Maharaj, there must be a regulation 29, which is removal on account of ill health, the letter will be sent, considering you only have 1 or 2 people working in the division. So the letter will be sent, and probably it will come back, but they won't pick it immediately because of other matters. And it will miss the meeting of the ethics committee. And then in the next ethics committee, it will be on the agenda. But on that agenda, you will have something like 100 matters, starting from who is going to misconduct, what are the new matters, and Maharaj will be part of the list on the agenda to be discussed and to advise that there are issues with that matter, and it applies to all of them. But because of time constraints, and this is my experience since I've been in the committee, which is why we are refining. Because of time constraints, you will try as far as possible to go through the agenda, and you'll get to matter number 40, and you have 60 matters remaining to discuss. And you carry through the 60 matters to the next meeting, and in the next meeting, you don't get to the 60 matter, and so it goes. And therefore, these matters tend to fall within the cracks, hence the delay.
Yes,
Thank you.
Advocate Manak, I think we have heard you. It requires that engagement. Yes, I think we will be going back to the issues you have raised. I think the problem has been identified. The most important issue in that engagement, it is how it needs to be cured, because it creates bigger problems for the system of justice in our country. So I think you need to prepare yourselves as the Magistrate Commission, one, with the identification of the problem, but most importantly, how are you going to cure them? Because it will not help if we would come back next year and the year after next and get explanation as to why there are these glaring delays. It would not help us as Parliament. We will be more interested in how they are going to be cured. So let's prepare ourselves, both Parliament and yourselves, for that engagement, which we think it will require much more time to deal with the whole value chain. Honorable Janji, are you covered with that?
Thank you, Chair. I'm covered.
Thank you very much. Can we go to the next one?
Which one was it? Right. The next matter, Honorable Chair, that I seek permission to deal with is the matter of Rath. This is another one, and let me put that disclaimer ahead of time, that there was ample delay before its finality, and it has some little issue which is now urgent, which I'll need to brief the committee about. So Mr. Rath has been found guilty in 2021. Mr. Rath was found guilty in 2021 of 6 counts of misconduct, ranging from misleading people to invest millions of rands into what was called a development scheme, but what turned to be, as the evidence showed before the DC, a pyramid scheme. And he, from the evidence, used his position, he's the chief magistrate from Odendaal, to recruit the people, and they invested in that scheme because they took his office as being a serious officer of a magistrate, and they believe that the so-called investment or scheme was legit, in a sense that he told them that they will get returns in quadruples of whatever amount that they will invest. And least to say, they didn't get their money back. There were also some police files that were opened with the police. But for purposes also of this committee, he was then found guilty of those 6 counts, and there was a recommendation for the removal. There was a debate between the Magistrate Commission members whether the outcome of the removal is the most suitable sentence or whether a lesser sentence should be imposed. And it is because of that debate that there was a delay in finalizing this matter and making a recommendation to the minister that Mr. Rath, provisional suspension should be actually confirmed and that the matter should be tabled before this committee and the National Assembly. And eventually there was an agreement, and in October last year, there was an agreement and a resolution by the commission that Mr. Rath's sentence is appropriate under the circumstances and that he's not fit to hold the office as a magistrate, and therefore that the commission should recommend to the minister to confirm the provisional suspension and place it before this committee, that suspension that he be removed, his removal be confirmed. And it is for that reason that it is before you for removal. In the interim, last year around June, July, Mr. Rath was 64. He then wrote to the department, as the regulation permits him to do so, to have his retirement age extended to 70, which the department said they received the letter and basically they put it in the file and his retirement age is extended from 65 to 70. Mr. Rath has since, in January of this year, wrote to the department that he no longer wants to retire at 70, he wants to retire at 65. He submitted. He submitted retirement documents that he wants to retire at 65. It so happened that he turned 65 in February, and because the regulation said it must be a full month, that his retirement, if it's approved by the department, will be at the end of Feb. The matter was brought to the attention of the commission and ExCo met last week and disagreed with Mr. Rath that he can, on the basis of what he requested initially, simply just retire. And as it were, the matter is pending before the department. And so this matter is rather urgent that it is heard. And I know it's not the problem of this committee that it is belatedly put on this before you, but that is the status quo, as it were. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Has the department responded to him that they do not, in fact, confirming your decision not to agree to him retiring at 65?
Let me confer with the Secretary with your permission. All I know is that the department has informed the commission that they will not approve, but whether he was informed, can I please be given an opportunity to just confer with the Secretary?
Okay.
Did they communicate to him?
No, it's only yesterday that we confirmed the one diplomat, so we expect they will communicate from this week. And maybe just correct them.
Thank you, Chair. Two things. I need to correct myself. Mr. Rath is not on provisional suspension. So he was not on suspension pending the DC. He's only suspended finally by the minister due to the outcome, and the confirmation is for the final suspension. That is the correction. And regarding the question you asked me, I'm advised by the Secretary, Mr. Finger, that it was only yesterday that the department reverted back to the commission that they won't implement the request for retirement pending until this matter is dealt with.
Okay. Honorable Breitenbach.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning to everybody. I just want to make sure that I understood correctly, Mr. Chair. There was a debate in the Magistrates Commission about whether or not this gentleman should, in fact, be suspended or not. Did I understand correctly? First, I need to have that question answered, and then I can carry on with my question.
Yes, Advocate Manaka.
Thank you, Honorable Breitenbach. The debate was at the Ethics Committee level, as I understand it, where once there is a recommendation, it goes to the Ethics Committee, and it then recommends to the Commission to say they've read it, and the Commission will then, in a full commission, decide whether or not to remove. And the debate was at the Ethics Committee level, and once it got to the Commission, my understanding is that the Commission never debated Mr. Rath removal, and I think it was my mistake not to be specific. I apologize for that.
Okay, thank you. I struggle to understand what the debate could possibly have been about. If the man is running a Ponzi scheme as a magistrate, there's nothing to debate. And if that is a problem, then while you're busy with your restructuring and your cleaning house, that is a portion of the house you need to clean. I do not understand the basis of a debate on that issue, but thank you. That's all I want to say at the moment. Thanks.
And thank you, Honorable Breitenbach. We'll consider that.
Honorable Janji.
No, thank you, Chair. Advocate Manaka angatati over your chairing. I see that we are again. I'm covered by Honorable Breitenbach. Because we did say that there are these common features throughout. It's really not a question now, but just to say, Chair, as a comment, that the Fifth Committee of Justice would have either dealt with this matter or it was done during its time, because Mr. Rath, in terms of our record, was charged on the 23rd of July 2018, and yet the misconduct inquiry only commenced 2 years, 8 months later in March 2021. Now, I'm not going to again labor the point. One has made the point about this as a standing feature across all of that. So I just wanted to, as an emphasis, that this is what you have. With such a serious matter, you have somebody who there's no sense of agency, but I think Advocate Managa has responded in saying what is it that they're doing to reclaim that space. I just wanted to make that point that it seems in each and every case, and I would not tire making it for each case so that it sinks to all of us. Thank you, Chair.
It becomes much more of a bigger problem if there are such delays that makes a person who is running a Ponzi scheme to continue being a judicial officer. It becomes much more serious. Honorable Jere.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think, Chair, I'm covered, but I want to emphasize that issue, Chair, and also ask, I don't know whether it's a comment or it's a question, but you see how you Miss Advocate Manaka, so my apology, how he will answer it. But I think in addition to what Honorable Breitenbach said, I think a serious cleaning, Chair. I want to put this face in terms of saying there must be a serious cleaning that Advocate Manaka has to go about in assisting us with that, with those matters, Chair, in that committee, just to be specific. But my problem is that, Chair, there are matters that brought to us the last time of suspension of these advocates, and we're now faced with that one. This one, Chair, it took so long for us to be here, to be presented with this issue. And this person has been, for instance, he also raised the issue of wanting to go for retirement and all those things. This matter has been handled with kid gloves. Is there any, it gives me a sense of favoritism in dealing with these issues. And in also, I understand what Advocate Maneka is saying in terms of saying the queue when they deal with these issues. But to me, it gives me a sense of the people who are not ready to take decisions in dealing with such misconduct, and also a serious issue of our, I might be, maybe she will correct me, a sense of friendship, I don't know, a club where people, they look at issues because it's this one, it's Maseko Jedo, or it's this one, Miss Manaka, for lack of examples of surnames, will deal with this one this way and then this one like this. Chair, I feel where I am, I'm definitely not happy about what is happening in that committee. And there's a lot of work that has to be done. Those individuals that are there, Chair, they are not servicing this country properly, the way they should. I think these matters, even the ones that are going to be presented, I think we're still going to feel the same. It's like just mentioning this and then saying we are agreeing or not, because it is a very disturbing presentation, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. I do think that the point has been made, and I think generally Advocate Manaka has considered that there are problems that they are dealing with. I would suggest that maybe the issues you are raising should form part of that bigger meeting where we can raise them with the commission. I remember at some point, Honorable Janji, I think around 2020, 2021, you suggested that there needs to be a meeting with Justice Litwaba, who is the chair of the Magistrates Commission. I'm not sure whether he is still the chair of the Magistrates Commission, and raise some of these issues. What I would like to deposit for now to members is when we take these reports to the House, because all of them, they will be having repeat findings of delays as to what we should be suggesting to the House. Can we move to the next one?
Thank you, Chair. And before I move to the next one, I do want to assure the members, honorable members, that we are indeed cleaning, and you will indeed see a difference, because there is some difference, and perhaps in that sitting we'll be able to show how far we have swept up to now. Please allow me to deal with Mr. Singh. Allow me to please deal next with Mr. Singh, Honorable Chair. Mr. Singh is a senior magistrate in Pietermaritzburg. He is currently facing 4 counts. And on the summary, you would have seen that the counts include 2 counts of intimidating journalists, a journalist and the editor of a certain paper who reported on a story involving him. And that story involving him forms part of the other 2 counts that he's currently facing. Again, the 2 counts involving journalists are fairly new. The other 2 counts are very old, but something has been done, and therefore the other 2 counts include, amongst others, that Mr. Singh is involved with some politicians. He engages, he interacts with members of intelligence and was involved in a matter which includes an informer and so forth. So Mr. Singh has been placed on provisional suspension, and the commission, as well as the minister, moves that his provisional suspension be confirmed.
You are done.
Briefly, I'm done. Unless there are questions, I'll answer them.
Thank you. So he has not yet been found guilty by a disciplinary committee.
None of the magistrates who are on provisional suspension have they been found guilty, nor have their DCs commenced. But the people leading evidence, as well as the presiding officers, are appointed, and they are therefore on the process of consulting with witnesses and setting the pre-trial, misconduct hearings.
Okay. Members, any questions or clarity seeking questions?
Severe Slav, we've heard it.
Okay, thank you. This one is clear. Next one.
Sorry, Chairperson.
Honorable Mkhwebane.
Yes, before you proceed on the issue of Mr. Singh, the first complaint, when was it received? Because it seems as if the commission only acted after apparently there was an article in the Daily Maverick which contains some serious allegations. So when was this complaint? I think if you can just clarify that for us. Thanks.
Thank you, Honorable Mkhwebane. Advocate Manaka.
Advocate Mkhwebane, you know, when advocates don't have straight answers, we give answers in a way. So the first complaint was in 2018. And so there were multiple complaints, and I think I need to explain this. So there were multiple complaints where in certain of the complaints, Mr. Singh is a complainant, and in certain of other complaints, he is the accused magistrate by some of the complainants. So when we took office, we then found that there is this very old matter, and there's a number of matters. So 2 decisions were taken. One is that there was a matter which was on mediation, which involved Mr. Singh and other complainants. And that mediation has been ongoing for years. So we decided with the chair of the commission that we will attend to that mediation personally and see why it can't be resolved. So that mediation was resolved. Then subsequently, I realized that there are multiple complaints against Mr. Singh. And last year, I then said they must consolidate all the complaints that are there against Mr. Singh, and they must be dealt by one person, because this is attended, the other one is not attended. So I said they must consolidate all the complaints and give them to one person. And it is for this reason that we were able to see how many complaints are there and their seriousness, and that they are not necessarily related to whatever they called mediation. So yes, there was a delay, and it's not necessarily that it is because of the complaints from the journalist. When the complaints from the journalist came through to the commission, we had already consolidated the matters. In fact, it's not only Mr. Singh, it's also other magistrates that we have done that.
I hope you are covered, Honorable Mkhwebane.
Thanks so much, Chair.
Thank you. Can we move to the next presentation?
And thank you, Chair. The next matter is the matter of Hindler. Again, a very, very old matter where Mr. Hindler was found guilty of, let me rather put it this way without making it sound criminal, in a criminal sense. So there were complaints of Mr. Hindler having sexual intercourse with the complainant without her consent. That happened on 2 occasions. Mr. Hindler was charged with those 2 counts, and he was represented, and during the cross-examination of the complainant, the advocate representing him withdrew from the matter. He subsequently had a new attorney. The trial was finalized without Mr. Hindler testifying. He was found guilty of those 2 counts. After he was found guilty, there was a recommendation that he should be removed from office as he's not fit to hold the office of a judicial officer. Mr. Hindler then made representation, as he is entitled to by law, into whether, about the intended sanction rather. And in the representation, he raised certain issues or what seemed like a defense to the merits of the case. But nonetheless, the person who was the presiding officer in the misconduct, after having considered the representation, confirmed that the sanction of removal from office is the most suitable sanction, and the matter served before the commission. So, matter serving before the ethics committee, there was a debate whether the role of the commission, as anticipated by the Act, is to endorse the sanction even when the sentence of the finding of the presiding officer on the merit does not seem to accord with justice, in a sense that it's not supported by the merits, or is it to then go into the merits of the judgment itself and do what? It was a conundrum. So that delayed this matter quite a lot. Eventually, there was an agreement that the role of the commission is not simply to endorse, having considered the Act, to say you have the record of proceedings and everything that was before the presiding officer. It's not only to endorse the merits, it's also to be satisfied that the judgment that informed the sanction was correct. And so that part was resolved. Then the next question was, do members of the commission agree, of the ethics committee rather, because that's where it started in the committee that I chair, do they agree with the sanction? That sparked another whole lot of debate where people did not agree, others did agree. And in an effort to guide that process, I then requested members who agree to write why they agree, those who do not agree to also write why they do not agree. And that's where there was a split about people saying the sentence is too harsh. And having seen that we are not going to reach a resolution, we decided to place the matter, as it were, from both those who are for and against before the commission. Initially, the commission was split. And the chair of the commission resolved that the minister must be advised of all the views of members, because it was, I think, closely at that time, in terms of numbers, that although the majority says he must be removed, there were other people who felt he should not be removed. The minister returned the matter to the commission and said, after obtaining an opinion, legal opinion, of course, that the commission must make a recommendation for or against. It is its responsibility in terms of the law, and it cannot pass the problems over to him. In a meeting that was held on 13 October 2023, then the commission debated the matter and there was a vote. 14 members, 14 commissioners attended the meeting. And of the 14 members, excluding parliamentarians, 13 voted for removal. And then a recommendation was subsequently made that the provisional suspension be confirmed by the minister. And the minister did that. And it is for that reason that the matter is before Parliament for confirmation of the final suspension and subsequent removal. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Advocate Manaka. Any questions, members? Honorable Maseko Jele, followed by Honorable Janji.
Thank you very much, Chair. This is it's not a question, Chair, but it's a request to Memanaga that I think you, Chair, she can see how matters of rape and issues of gender-based violence are taken by the country, and the president himself as described as a pandemic in this country. I want to just to register, Chair, that those members of the committee, those who are not taking these matters serious, such matters serious, I think, Chair, something must be done. I can't say what, because she's going to do assist us in cleaning, like we spoke about this one early. It's really appalling and also embarrassing to hear that a magistrate slept with a client or a complainant for that matter. Where I'm sitting, I was thinking as to if a magistrate can do that to a complainant, what about the other colleagues within? Chair, the disrespect that is shown in this matter by the magistrate, Chair. I think in future this cannot be tolerated. It's bad, very bad. I think we need to deal with this issue in a manner that will send a message how we are taking these matters serious, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. I suspect that would feature prominently in your debate in the House, that the House must consider that seriously. Honorable Janji.
Nkosisihlalo, thank you very much. There are just a few troubling matters here on this matter. You would remember, Chair, this committee, which is about to wrap up its work now in March in terms of our 5-year, the Hindler matter would have been one of those that would have come in front of us, coming over from a 2017 or 2018 process. It would have been part of a first package of matters we dealt with. That suspension would have been recommended by this committee to the NA, if you remember. So that would have been the end of 2019, or very early or January 2020. It's coming back now. So just in this term of our committee, to illustrate my point further, even on this Hindler matter, that the time it would have taken. It's very troubling. Secondly, Honorable Breitenbach, and I see she's going to be speaking after me, the point she raised about a debate and discussion on such matters comes back on the Hindler matter. We can even start from the ethics committee. So not for now, I think when we have that fuller discussion, because I would be interested as to what really guides such discussions. Are such discussions guided by evidence based on these kind of matters, or there's an application of other things? And I don't know what these other things are to have these matters dragged in this way. But it's even more embarrassing, Chair, that even after the presiding officer recommended his removal from office, something that we have long been waiting for since when we did the suspension. In terms of our record, it took the commission 21 months after that to resolve for the removal to the minister, let alone the to and fro where they wanted to kick for touch and not. I just don't understand some of those issues, but they are not for today. From Advocate Manaka's earlier presentation, we now have a picture of the kind of things that would have to happen as part of our legacy report that must kind of run over into the 7th Justice Committee. It's very, very troubling. And this is not a good example, but we'll take our decision. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Janchi. Honorable Breitenbach.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Yes, I agree with the two previous speakers. This is outrageous. And this is outrageous. That there can be a debate about the fitness to hold office of a man who's convicted of raping somebody and wants to sit on the bench. It's outrageous. It cannot happen. And if it is happening, then we need to look very, very seriously at the entire Magistrates Commission and how it functions or doesn't function. But there could even have been a debate about an issue like this. Absolutely beggars the imagination. It's not possible. It's outrageous. We have to have a look at how the Magistrates Commission functions, Chair, because it's completely dysfunctional. If this is the kind of thing that happens there, then Advocate Manaka has got a job that is so huge that she must please tell this committee how we can help her. But this can't go on. Thank you.
Thank you, Advocate Mkhwebane.
Chairperson, also contributing to it's so wrong in so many ways. I mean, when she was busy narrating the story, to me, that's the first thing which came out, that I mean, such a serious matter, even members of the committee, the commission couldn't even agree in the first place. So I'll suggest that indeed, as the honorable members are indicating, definitely we will have to have a follow-up. Actually, when they submit the reports and engage with them, it means we also have to put a special emphasis on all matters which are relating to sexual and GBV-related complaints against the magistrate. So we will have to have that list as well so that we can assist the commission to deal expediently with such matters. It's very concerning indeed. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Advocate Manaka.
Honorable members, we've heard you. We've noted the strongest possible terms that you have condemned the delay, particularly in this matter. There has been a delay, as well as why it was delayed, and we will relay that, and indeed we will have to discuss to see if there are measures that we can put in place to expedite over and above what we try to do, but to get an external support on these kind of matters. But we have heard you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Was that the last case you were about to present?
Indeed, Honorable Chair, it was the last case that we had to present before this committee.
No, thank you very much for your presentation. And you know that you have taken a serious responsibility with many challenges. But I see, maybe before I conclude, there are two hands. Do you want to raise something, Advocate Mkhwebane, Honorable Judge?
Chair, I think Advocate Bradenbach is waiting outside. It must have kicked her out. Oh, she's now admitted. Sorry. Thank you.
Okay. Honorable Mkhwebane, was it an old hand or a new hand?
Apology, Chair, it's an old hand.
Okay. Thank you, Honorable Janji. Is it an old hand or a new hand?
No, it's a new hand, Chair. Sorry. So I might have gotten it wrong. So I thought there would have been an update on Zimande and Naya. So am I reading from the wrong material?
I suspect so,
but she says she's finished what she came here for. So I take your point there. Thank you, Chair.
okay. Maybe we can phrase it differently. When are we receiving an update on the two issues that Honorable Janji has raised?
I was advised by the secretary that the update was sent in Jan, but I can quickly have it give the committee because I came prepared for that too.
Please do.
Chairperson.
Mr. Romano?
Yes, maybe just there's another matter that was referred that the commission didn't deal with. I think there was one that wherein they seek to uplift a suspension of a magistrate.
Yes.
Botani, yes.
Yes, that's true.
I totally apologize. That's correct. Can I deal with that quickly?
Yes.
Before I do the update.
Yes.
Botani is currently on provisional suspension that was confirmed by this committee and the National Assembly. Her matters were taken on a special review. Following that, there was a finding by the High Court judge that she has to reconstruct a record in a matter where she sat in. And the commission was of the view that in order for her to do that, there should be an upliftment of her suspension only to deal with the reconstruction of record, and that it can then again be effected. So this matter is before this committee in order for it to confirm the upliftment of her suspension only to reconstruct the record. She is on suspension with salary anyways.
Any specific questions on this one? Honorable Janji?
Yes. So now this matter, so we're being asked to go to the House to say so after 3 years, there's been a suspension. There must be an upliftment of that for a specific purpose, which I understand, in order for that work to be concluded. It's a reconstruction of the work and everything that would have been presented. So clearly, we're not given timelines here, even for that. And I don't know why that's not possible. So we suspended Botani 3 years ago. So today, after 3 years, we're asked to uplift her on the recommendation of the judge that in order for that work to be done, because it's also about the administration of justice so that nobody gets negatively affected. Is this another open-ended thing? So the uplifting is, we're likely to, after a year or 2 years, we're going to come back and say, you now can go back to the original position. If I may just get clarity there. I know it's not a simple thing, straightforward, but it with the what we have heard and what we're used to with the Magistrate Commission on these matters of ethics, we cannot ask that question. It's in front of us.
Honorable Janji, hearing your question, I must say I actually feel foolish because I think it must be on me. There are quite a few questions that we should have asked before we come to present this. For example, how long is the judgment? And how long is the reconstruction that needs to happen so that we can be able to estimate time? And that's my bad. Let me take it on me because I'm presenting and I knew what I'm coming up with, but I actually never thought about it that way. Now, I'm not sure how to deal with this because indeed we do need timelines. It can be in perpetuity. But again, we can't put timelines if we don't know how long, how big the record is. Can I perhaps ask that because there is another matter that is coming, that when we get excused with the secretary, when you deal with that matter, that we pen this matter and we can make a few calls maybe to the head of the office and so forth, to see if we can get some form of information that can give clarity to inform the timelines, and perhaps we can come and be helpful on that regard. That's what we should have done in the first place, I think.
Okay. So as we are presenting the next matter, the secretary to the Magistrate Commission will be making that call.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I ask that this one stand down for a while, for a bit?
Yeah, let me check if there are no further questions on this matter. Honorable Breitenbach.
Thanks, Chair. I just want to say that there's no need for Advocate Manaka to feel foolish. This is the first time she's coming to the committee. She's clearly done quite a lot to improve or try and improve conditions there, and she's got a huge amount more to do. That's very clear. But there's no need for her to feel foolish. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Member.
Thank you. So this one can stand down. Can you proceed to the next one?
So Chair, as I understand, the next one will simply just giving a brief update on how far a few matters are. The one that Honorable Janji raised is the Nair matter, and Monday there's also Mkanzi, which I think we need to update the committee on. The Nair matter, just bear with me, I made my notes somewhere. So the matter of Mr. Desmond Nair, the regional court, the chief magistrate rather, has been postponed to from 1 to the 5th of April 2024 for a ruling. The ruling is predicated by the commission asking to lead one of the witnesses who who can't come to the hearing owing to ill health, that witness should testify virtually. And Mr. Nair's lawyers raised some form of consent about that, and the presiding officer previously, the presiding officer ordered the commission's evidence leader to file a substantive application of that, which was done. So the matter is postponed for a ruling and tentatively for further hearing if the presiding officer were to allow the application of the commission. That will be for continuation, and as I understand, that will be the last witness for the commission before it closes its case. That's all on the Nair matter. I'm not sure if I should go to the next or I should wait for questions. I'll take your direction, Honorable Chair.
You're saying it's when? April?
1 to 5 April.
Thank you. I see no questions, no further questions. Can you move to the next one?
Thank you. The next one is the matter of Mr. Nzimande. It has been postponed to 4 until 15 March 2024. Mr. Nzimande has now pleaded to 164 charges, including charges on one charge of sexual harassment, charges of corruption, and charges including gambling during office hours. So on the 4 to 15, the matter will be proceeding. The delay in the Nzimande matter was caused by actually finding the presiding officer and people who lead evidence. Initially, as we read historical documents, the presiding officer was a magistrate, and the persons leading evidence were 2 prosecutors. Then they withdrew. The presiding officer also withdrew because she was going on pension, and 2 magistrates were then appointed. Then they also withdrew. Then the commission decided that they will have evidence leaders being private practitioners, a senior and a junior counsel, and a judge. Then there was some process of appointing a judge, administrative glitches in appointing the judge. Subsequently, the judge was appointed. Then there was an issue with senior counsel, and the commission decided to remove the senior counsel and appoint the second junior. And on the last count, when the matter was supposed to proceed, there was a problem with one of the junior counsel which was appointed, and the commission has now appointed a new senior counsel and one of the juniors who was in the matter to proceed with the hearing. They've consulted, I know the junior has consulted with the witnesses, and the matter should proceed, barring any interlocutory processes being brought by Mr. Nzimande on 4 to 15 March 2024.
What are these problems that keep on coming with respect to the evidence leaders and the magistrates and the prosecutors?
So initially, if you can check, give me a sec. So Mr. Nzimande was suspended on 25 October 2018. Then the previous chairperson of the Magistrate Commission had an agreement with the former NPA and DPP to release 2 senior advocates from his office to assist the commission in leading evidence in the disciplinary hearing. The senior advocate was released for that purpose and was appointed on 4 December 2016. He, however, retired and was not willing to provide further assistance as the PLE. The newly appointed NDPP was advised accordingly and requested to appoint someone pursuant to the agreement. And on 22 Feb 2019, after obtaining approval from the heads of courts to release magistrate to preside in the matter, the commission appointed 3 regional magistrates to preside as presiding officers. On 24 January 2020, the NDPP responded and confirmed that they would release another senior advocate to assist as a new PLE. The new PLE unfortunately withdrew on 22 February 2021, which is a year later. Following his withdrawal, that's when the commission resolved not to approach the office of the NDPP for assistance anymore, but to appoint a 2 council senior and junior. That was done on 29 March 2021. And on 4 June 2021, the regional magistrate the regional magistrate requested to withdraw as well as a PLE for the reason that he would be retiring in 2022. The disciplinary hearing would not be finalized by then when he retires. And on 20 August 2021, the senior magistrate also requested to withdraw as well. The commission thereafter resolved to appoint, that's when we decided to appoint 2 private practitioners. Then EXCO resolved to appoint a judge as well to be the person presiding over the misconduct, considering that now you have a senior counsel as a private practitioner as well as a junior. In February 2022, the PLEs interviewed the witnesses, and the judge was appointed after 18 August 2022. And that is Judge Shongwe, the retired Judge Justice Shongwe. Then the commission was not satisfied. What then happened after that, before the hearing, is that myself, the secretary of the commission, and the chair of the commission, DJ Pilidwaba, decided to call a meeting with the persons leading evidence to understand how far they are with the preparation of the matter, what is the cause of the delay, and whether they need any additional assistance. Are the charges drawn, and so forth. Following that consultation, we were not satisfied that they are moving with the speed with which we expect them to move. And then we decided to recommend to EXCO that the senior counsel be removed, and we retain the junior counsel simply because of historical knowledge. They've already perused the files, which are like, I think, 40 liver arch files, and that she can then assist on whoever will come. In order to try and keep the cost, we decided let's get the second junior instead. Then they can help each other. Then there were issues with the 2 juniors. Now in January, the commission met again. We met again as EXCO and decided to remove 1 junior and appoint a senior counsel. And that was in January 2024. Chairperson?
What was the problem with the junior that you removed?
Our understanding is that there was issues regarding the 2 juniors not agreeing on how to share the workload, and whether between them one will act as a lead counsel and the other one as a junior to that one. And that problem apparently was necessitated by the fact that they were almost admitted, I think, a month or less than 6 months apart. And because of those issues, we decided as the commission that this matter is too important to us, and we cannot afford to have people leading evidence not agreeing on such small things. Let's rather remove one of them and leave one again for institutional knowledge, and appoint a senior who will then lead properly. Chairperson.
Thank you. Are there any questions? I think none. Is that Advocate Mkhwebane?
Thanks, Chairperson. I think this is also one of the matters which needs us to, especially also from our side going forward, that we deal with how we always constantly follow up on such matters as a committee, having various committee members also following up on such issues, because I think this matter has been before the committee before, and yes, the Magistrates Commission should be updating us, but as well from our side, how we follow up, because, and even the commission, Advocate Manaka, if in your engineering of the ethics committee, I think look into the issue of a panel of those external chairpersons or external evidence leaders which you can utilize to ensure that these matters are dealt with expediently, because I mean this continuously violates Section 195 of the Constitution and Section 237, because issues and decisions are not expediently dealt with. So I'll suggest that as well in your re-engineering, you should be looking into that, and matters should be dealt with efficiently. Hence, I'm saying standard operating procedures, service standards will be helping you going forward to deal with such matters, because indeed it's unacceptable, considering the fact that you're spending so much, the person is sitting at home. That money should have been utilized to employ more presiding officers, considering the backlog of matters in the criminal justice system. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mkhwebane. I think that was a comment. Thank you very much, Advocate Manaka, and to the Secretary of the Commission.
There's another one.
I think, yes, there is an update that you need to give us.
Yes, there's also the last matter of Mukanzi. I'm not sure it's one of those that we need to report on, because it's also on suspension for quite some time now.
Okay.
But we can skip it for the next hearing, looking at the time constraints. I'll be directed by you, Chair.
Is it ready to go to the House, Mr. Ramano?
No, it's not.
Ready.
No, it's a Paco Boslar.
Okay.
Still with them.
Okay. Okay. No, can you give us an update on the timelines?
Is it the ones for Botani?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, can I just defer to get a briefing? 1 second. Thanks. Thank you, Chair and honorable members. Mr. Finger advises me that the reconstruction only relates to the accused evidence, and they've already contacted him to find out how long it will take. And in his estimation, he said 1 day. So I would propose to the House, subject to the approval of honorable members, that perhaps we give it a week in the event there are any glitches or whatever unforeseen eventualities it is covered for, instead of coming back to the House. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Advocate Manaka, and the Secretary of the Commission. Thank you for the presentations that you have made before us. Quite clearly, there are a lot of challenges, and challenges that are a threat to the magistracy. They are a threat to the extent that people can lose confidence in the magistrates. They need to be dealt with as of yesterday. We take note of the work that you have already done as the ethics committee so far. It clearly shows that there were lots and lots of challenges. This meeting with yourselves, I think it's very urgent. We need to give confidence to South Africans that they appear before men and women of honor and integrity. We have that obligation. If it takes so long and my mother or my cousin appears before a judicial officer who runs a Ponzi scheme, what does that say to our justice system? So we would need to, members, when we deliberate, see what drastic steps can we take or recommend to the House or to the new committee, or if there is something that we can do before our term expires. But thank you very much. We are pleased with your honesty. You are telling things as they are, even if they make you, in fact, you felt it was not an easy thing to communicate, but you communicated to us honestly, and I think it gives us a clearer and an honest picture about the state of affairs in the Magistrates Commission. We really do appreciate that, and we hope that you will continue with your colleagues with the fight to ensure that we have a judiciary that can be respected. South Africa's judiciary is one of the respected judiciaries globally. We should try and weed out all those who might, through their actions or commission or omissions, undermine that confidence in the judiciary. That includes the magistrates. Thank you very much. I think we will not detain you any further.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair and all honorable members. Can we please be excused?
Thank you.
That's a good orientation. See you next time.
It was good indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And you are doing good. Keep it up, the good work.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Can we move to the next item? I think it's the issue of the letter that we received of the resignation of the deputy chairperson of the South African Human Rights Commission. The Secretariat will correct me if I'm wrong. I think the resignation takes effect beginning of April, so we would not have enough time to process that particular matter. It has not yet even been referred to us. So it's one of those matters that would need to be prioritized by the new committee once it is constituted. But the commission would continue to curate So it was important for us to take note of that development, because I think honorable members, the letter was circulated to yourselves in January from the deputy chairperson, the letter of resignations, that we take note of that. We hope that as soon as the new committee is constituted, a referral will be done, so that they do the interviews as soon as possible. Can I now invite Ms. Silkstone to just take us through on the Deputy Public Protector's process?
Let me share my screen. Botani, could you just enable share screen share for me, thanks.
Go ahead, Christine.
Okay, thanks. Slideshow. Sorry. Are you seeing that?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. First page. We all going to,
Christine,
yes?
can you put it on slideshow? Top left corner,
Yeah.
it says from the beginning.
I've got it on slideshow.
No, you just press slideshow.
Yeah,
slide,
from the beginning.
and then
Okay,
from
thank you. Perfect. Thanks, Judy. Thanks. Thank you. Okay. So I'm just this is a very high level presentation. We've been through this process a number of times. We've done it already once in this committee's term with former deputy protector, Beck. So we received a letter from the Speaker in December asking the committee to initiate a process to fill the vacancy arisen as a result of the appointment of the new public protector. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I'm going to skip through purpose of the public protector. We know it's a Chapter 9 institution, and just skip to the actual appointment process. The process to appoint deputy public protector is set out in the Act, sections 2(1)(b) and section 2(a) of the Public Protector Act. And the process is one that we're very familiar with, and present appoints the deputy public protector on the national. It's a majority vote, and it's also important to note that the DPP is eligible to serve a further term. This is unlike the public protector who only serves one term. And here, Then in terms of the actual, selection criteria, set out again in the Act. This is different to the public protector. Where in the Constitution there are some, there is a reference to some criteria, but these are what I call your minimum eligibility criteria. So these are, there must be a South African citizen who is fit and proper to hold the position. There must be an advocate or attorney who has been admitted and has practiced for at least 10 years. A legal academic who has lectured in law at a university, someone who has specialized knowledge or experience for at least 10 years in the administration of justice, public administration or public finance, someone who has for a cumulative period of at least 10 years been a member of parliament, or any combination of the experience mentioned that I've just mentioned. And it's important to note when we talk about the 10 years, it doesn't mean like 10 years that together they can be cumulative. So yeah. Then in terms of the powers of the DPP, the Act provides that the public protector is responsible for delegating powers to the DPP. Oh, sorry. Previous. I don't think I should be allowed to have a mouse in the process. Okay. But what is important is that although the DPP's powers are delegated, when the public protector is not able to act, the DPP steps into his or her position. So that person must be somebody of the similar caliber to the public protector. The Act also provides that the PP is assisted by the DPP. Yeah, in terms of the Act. In terms of our process, we've advertised the position already to save some time. The closing date is the 16th of February. Then in terms of what we need to think about is, again, it's the publication of the CVs on Parliament's website for public comment. Just noting that certain personal information is redacted. And then the issues to consider are time allocated for comment and how to address any negative comments that are received. Then the other issue is the questionnaire. We normally send that out in the processes, appointment processes, and it really gives us some kind of insight into the person we are thinking of shortlisting or interviewing. So here the question is, should the questionnaire be sent out to everybody who applies, or should it only go out to people who shortlist? Screening, again, this is in consider time frame, and then that's the time frames, and that would impact on when and what stage we screen. So, do we screen all those who are shortlisted, or do we only screen who we are interviewing? I think that in the public protector process and the human rights process, we screen those who were shortlisted. It does take some time to screen them. Interviews, the issue to consider is when, when should we hold it, the length of the interview, the questions, the process during the interviews, and then the final stages are decision report. Thanks.
You are done?
Yes, I'm done.
Thank you. Can you remove your screen? Thank you. Any questions on the process or on the presentation? It's generally what we know, but let's check if there are any clarity-seeking questions. Okay, thank you. Bonani, the last time you communicated with me, you said that we had only 10 people that had applied. Has that number changed?
Yes, Chairperson, we've got 18 at the moment.
18. Okay. Advocate Mkhwebane?
18.
Yes, okay. Advocate Mkhwebane?
Thanks, Chairperson. No, the only thing I wanted to the presentation, I don't think it was shared with us. It would help as well to just go back and peruse for comments and questions. But if it can be shared, one will raise issues if there are any. Thanks.
What needs to be shared?
A presentation, Chair.
Oh,
Leslie's presentation, the one she was doing now, yes.
Oh, okay, that can be done. So we have 18 nominations so far. And in terms of the program that we're just going to discuss now, we are supposed to deal with the issue of shortlisting next week, Tuesday. And the closing date is on Friday. Is it possible that we can start now, Secretariat, just sending the CVs to members? We can update them as they come so that they can be able to go through them as early as today. Because we are trying to deal with the truncated time frames that have been imposed on us by circumstances. Will that be possible?
Yes, Chairperson, I'll send them.
Okay. Ms. Silkstone?
We normally do have some kind of public participation process. So we can only really publish after the 16th. And that would, if we're going to, that would impact on our shortlisting process. Because it would be hard to shortlist unless we have the public participation, those people who are shortlisted.
Are we not going to, members can guide, are we not going to publish those who have been shortlisted? Because if you publish the whole list, and you find that sometimes even people who do not even meet the criteria have applied. Honorable Janji, your hand was up.
Yes, Chair. My hand was up, Chair. So I was going to suggest, Chair, that we, because when we've done this before and even recently, it's always a good respect and an honor of our role as MPs to share the whole list of people who have applied for public comment.
Okay.
So that we because if we're going to send them a short list, you're already affecting or indicating who they must comment on. I think the last time we sent a whole list and thereafter, so we can shorten the time of that kind of a publication. But they must comment, must see everything that would have, everybody that would have applied. There would be no harm if we do that, Chair, and be more mindful on the time you allow for that period.
Okay, no, thanks. Honorable Ngola?
Well, thank you very much, Chair. I think the issue of publishing of CVs, if my memory serves me well, we did it to everyone, but what we limited was who then is going to be submitted to the State Security Agency for security clearance.
Yes.
That's the list we limited. So I just wanted to remind you, Chair, that. Thank you.
I'm still in a festive mode, so
you can see that.
You tend to forget sometimes when you're still in a festive mode. No, thank you very much. But that would mean that would affect the next item, that is the program. It will need to change and take all those things into consideration, because how it was drafted, I think it suggests that on the 20th, we are doing the shortlisting. That would not have given enough time for public participation. So we might need to look at the program based on the discussions we have just had. Am I capturing members correctly?
Yes, Chair. Yes, Chair.
Yes, you are correct, Chair.
Thank you. Are there any, Honorable Ngola, your hand is up?
It's an old hand, Chair. Sorry.
Yes, we're climbing down from the tree.
The worst part, Chair, is that I'm in the village and the network is not that good. I don't know what's happening today.
Oh, it's the same as
I'm
the
not-
tree. The same as the
I'm not in my usual tree arrangement.
No, you brought the tree to the parliamentary village. Okay, can we now move to the last item? Am I correct, Mr. Ramano? That is, the program is the last item?
Yes, Chairperson, you are correct.
Thank you. Members, we have a proposed program that was circulated to members. We would like to propose it with the amendments that we have just made it now, because it will be a living document. You know, when you operate under these difficult times, that sometimes we will be forced to make adjustments because of Parliament's guidance or imposition sometimes, that this should be regarded as a draft program, but we are presenting it for inputs and for adoption it as a working document, in fact, as a living document. Can you flight it, Botani? But members do have the program, but I think it's important that it's flighted. We have already indicated that it needs to be reworked, especially that date of the 20th of Feb, that we can't do the shortlisting before we do the public participation. But these are the things that we are proposing to be on the report. Honorable Breitenbach.
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, you know what my issue is. I don't see where it is now on the program, but it's there somewhere. I know to deal with the Taba Bester matter. It's very clear that we didn't finish with our interaction with DCS and G4S on the last occasion that they were here. I would request that we set aside 2 days again to continue that interaction with them, especially in the light of the new allegations that have now come out and the new report that is now doing the rounds. I think that it would be remiss of us to just ignore those issues and leave it for another committee. We're seized with the matter. It's a serious matter, and there are many issues that still need to be cleared up, including, importantly, why in a report to this committee, the fact that the corpse was not that of Bester and it was already known, it was not revealed to this committee. Why this whole issue was hidden away as an inmate suicide. If this committee is going to do its job properly, and if we're going to do proper oversight, then we cannot tolerate that kind of misleading information being presented to us. So we have not dealt with that and we need to deal with it. So I would suggest another 2 days for that matter. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. So you are saying that the update by the Department of Correctional Services, that the way it's crafted here, can you remove this thing so that I can be able to read it properly? Yeah. update on the 20th of March, update by the Department of Correctional Services on the Thabo Bester matter and related issues. Are you saying that that does not cover you?
Chair, it doesn't even begin to cover me. I'm sorry. I could keep them busy from 9:30 to 1 all by myself. We need at least another 2 days, and I'm sure that's not going to be sufficient, but let's try. With your good management and your good time management, we can probably get a lot done in 2 days. But I certainly think that we need at least another 2 days with him. There are a lot of matters that need to be covered here, matters that are important, and matters for which the department and ourselves owe the public answers, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. If I'm not sure if I understand you well, Advocate Mutumbach. It's issue of requesting 2 days is one issue, and the issue I was asking is that how it is captured now, update on the by the Department of Correctional Services, what is 1 day or 2 days? Does this update on the by the department captures what you are suggesting?
No, Chair, we don't need an update from them. During the questioning of them, we will receive our update. I'm suggesting 2 days, taking the same format as the last time they appeared, where the members were given time slots to interrogate them, and I would suggest that we continue with that approach in this matter. There are many questions that have not been answered. There are many issues that there was no time to cover, and there are many new issues that need to be traversed. So I'm not interested in an update from the department, not at all. The update will come with the questions that we put to them, as it did the last time. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Janji.
No, Chair, no, thank you, Chair. Firstly, I want to support Honorable Breitenbach on the suggestion that we must get a 2-day follow-up session on our fact-finding exercise we had with them. And I would prefer that the 20th be the last of the second day. So you might need to check how we restructure that. And in that regard, Chair, based on the previous session, there are quite a number of things that were probed, were raised, where there would not have been a follow-up. If I can just give you a few examples, but it's not just DCS would want jigs to be there in particular in such a session. For example, jigs would have indicated that they asked for a lifestyle audit issues. It would be important to find out where those things are. When the committee did an oversight, you saw this 1:60 ratio with inmates, and the department needs to tell us the status of that as an example, and then you would have a further investigation of disciplinary proceedings with jigs where we were asking whether investigations were conducted by G4S on disciplinary proceedings against the officials and so on. And because we want to do this, I know that there is a voice which I am not sympathetic to that says Besta is in court and there are matters in court, and I'm not sympathetic to that because we're playing an oversight role. I don't think we should just agree to hide behind those kind of things. There would have been program of safety of whistleblowers that would have been formed by JIC. So there are quite a number of things, and I would suggest, Chair, as the chair of the subcommittee, so I can do a little exercise with the content advisor to just distill those issues in addition to whatever issues that members would want to ask. But in principle, one agrees to us having that follow-up, and I also agree to a 2-day period. I was going to suggest a 2-day. I don't know whether, Advocate Breitenbach is trying to read my mind and even wanted to speak before me on this issue of the 2 days. But I fully support what she's proposing, Chair.
Thank you. Any further comments? No further comment. So can we have...
it's better, Chair, when it is, sorry, Chair, it is in March, so that we don't take it to April. Remember, by all accounts, if everything happens, we should be rising by the 28th of March as the NA. So let's plan to keep our things before we rise.
Okay. So can you, Honorable Janji, identify some of the issues? It will not be a conclusive it will not be a conclusive kind of list of the issues that were not properly, in fact, that were not concluded, that we would need to conclude.
Yes, Chair. Agreed, Chair. I will work with the content advisor.
Yes. That does not preclude other members from raising any other issue. Will that be fine, members?
Thank you, yes.
So we might need to go beyond the 20th. Well, we know the 21st is the holiday. Mr. Ramano, is there any other date after the 20th?
Chair, I was just thinking, what if we identify the 19th and the 20th?
Okay.
So Tuesday and Wednesday.
Okay. Yeah, no, you can play with what it is think and ensure that the issue of the Deputy Public Protector processes is effected correctly, taking into consideration the public participation, ensure that this thing is split into two, 19th and 20th. The other issue, members, I just maybe you might need to think about it. Maybe before we really decide about it. When we discuss these reports, the magistrates' reports, I think the issues raised are really grave. I think they are very serious. These lapses are really very serious. Is it possible that maybe we can, maybe before we debate these reports in the House, we should have met with the Magistrates Commission? I mean, some of the issues were picked up by Honorable Maseko Jele, Honorable Breitenbach, just how decisions, in fact, straightforward decisions about committal of serious transgressions can just delay and people be divided on a rape matter. Is it something that you would still want to think about, or we could still say the new committee should deal with it? Honorable Breitenbach.
You know, Chair, because none of us know who will be on the next committee at this point, perhaps this committee should deal with it. We have 5 years of history. Some of us have longer. We have we've built up a lot of institutional knowledge, and perhaps this committee should deal with it instead of passing it on to somebody else. The situation is intolerable, so perhaps we should interrogate that and offer some inputs. I see no harm in this committee doing so. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. Other comments? Honorable Janji.
I support you, Chair, and Honorable Breitenbach. I think as part of our legacy report, even if we're not able to go into the desirable details, but they've got to be important pointers about when that 7th Parliament constitutes, whoever it deploys to the magistrate and how that magistrate accounts, we should be able to have raised those issues that we have picked up throughout our process of this term. So I fully agree that let's have a bite on it. It doesn't have to be a whole day. Can we just say 2 hours, 3 hours, and then we make some recommendations and some processes. Thank you.
Yes, because I'm just thinking if you are to submit to the House 6 reports, and in all of them there are serious time lapses, and you don't indicate what steps as Parliament or as the Assembly you are proposing, that it will really not augur well in how we do our oversight, because I think the report is bad. It's really bad. So, Committee Secretariat, can you also contact the Magistrates Commission that we would like to see them? We can work out on the dates. We can work out the dates, but it's important that we have a discussion with them. That brings us to the end of the meeting. Thank you very much. The meeting is adjourned.
Maybe, Chair, before you close it, there's an invitation that I sent to all members from the Department of Justice. I don't know if members have received it.
Oh.
I think it's on the strengthening of the integrated criminal justice system and reviewing the Criminal Procedure Act.
What will be the date?
Let me just check. The 27th to the 29th of Feb.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. And then in our program, does it clashes with anything?
Chair, I will have to check the program. I can't remember if it does.
Yeah. So, the logistics, are there any members who would want to attend that workshop? Honorable Janji, Honorable Horn. Honorable Breitenbach. I'm not sure you want to speak or you're indicating your interest.
We want to speak, Chair.
Okay. Let's start with Honorable Horn.
Yeah, Chair, you just in response to your question about the clashes with the program, the way I read the parliamentary program, we have oral questions to the ministers in the security cluster on that Wednesday. So whilst there is, of course, I believe, an appetite to attend the integrated justice system is a important project and a big concern as well to the committee, there is that challenge that we have that other responsibility on the Wednesday. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Honorable Breitenbach.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I wanted to raise the same point, and we should perhaps see if we can do something about those questions. But I think that it's important to attend the workshop. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Jale.
Thank you, Chair. I think, Chair, I'm interested to attend. Secondly, Chair, I think the issue of questions, we can attend on that day. Questions. In fact, I don't know if maybe there are two because it's in the parliament, in the house. We can go and attend because the workshop is for 3 days. Thank you, Chair.
The workshop is in Boxback.
I don't know. Maybe Bonani can tell us.
Well,
Yes, it's a Betchu to attend post-picture.
First thing, I think before we commit members, I think members would need to discuss their participation in the workshop, those that are interested with their WIPARI. Because generally my understanding is that the WIPARI would not be inclined to agree to people to attend to a workshop when it's a sitting in the house that involves their cluster. So I think before we make firm commitments, let's discuss with our political parties, because there is that experience that chief whips usually do not, but let that be discussed with the relevant political parties. Maybe Tuesday we can when we meet on Tuesday, we can have a final determination as to how we approach this thing. But I would advise members to discuss this with their political parties. Will that be in order?
Yes, Chair, thank you.
Thank you. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Recording stopped.
Matabat. Tempo. Leadership.